I've never been more convinced they won't get out of it.
Vinicius Jr., it was almost like the star turning up, the big boy in the playground turning up.
Having Harry Kane, the best number 9 in the world, you wouldn't swap him for anybody.
Hello and welcome to the Inside Channel, the World Cup edition. It's gone 4 in the morning in the United Kingdom when we're recording this. Scotland have just beaten Haiti to go top of their group, a group that also includes Brazil. We're going straight in, no warm-up. This is the format. The whistle has barely been blown and we're on it. I'm in San Francisco. It's coming up to around about 8:12 at night here. I've got a flight to Atlanta in the morning, and somewhere across this enormous country, in this vast expanse of the United States of America, in Houston, I think now, fully native, it's Alex Crook. Here we are, two mates, no time zone, just one big World Cup. We've got Steve Bruce on this episode as well, so stick around for that. And if you're new in, go back through our back catalogue. We've got some great guests for you to listen to. Asmir Begovic was on the other day, and Frank Lampard. That episode on penalty psychology is absolutely timeless, so that's up on the YouTube channel. Check that out. Right, Scotland. Where did you watch it, fella?
Watched it in a bar. There was a big World Cup party. Started with the Brazil-Morocco game. Then we had Scotland still going on now because, of course, Turkey are about to kick off as well. They'd have finished by the time this hits most people's inboxes in the morning. But my word, did they make hard work of it, Scotland. Honestly, if Haiti had a little bit more cutting edge, they would have won the game. And do you know what? At the start of the tournament, I was asked by Star Sports for my best bets. One of them was Scotland not to get out of the group. 2-1 they were. Yes, they've won. Yes, they're top of the group. I've never been more convinced they won't get out of it because they're going to lose to Brazil. They're going to lose to Morocco. Therefore, they're going to be on a negative goal difference. I don't think a 1-0 win against Haiti is going to be enough to end that hoodoo of having never managed to reach a knockout round.
You're such a negative Nelly. Don't overreact to the opening games. Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia in 2022. They went on and won the World Cup. Just chill. It's only the first one. There was so much pressure on that game for Scotland. They had to get over the line. I totally agree with your assessment of the football match, but I told you that this was going to happen in the last episode. I said to you they won't have it their own way. I said that they would need to make sure they went 2 up top and that Ben Gannon-Dope was their outball. He had to be in the team. He was. They used him. It followed the pattern. But we knew that Haiti were going to be physical. We knew they were going to be front-footed and determined to attack. They lacked quality, but they didn't lack ambition. I felt a little bit sorry for them, bearing in mind the story that goes alongside what's happening in that country, that they didn't get on the score sheet because they had a couple of absolutely cracking opportunities. McTominay drifting into space was important for Scotland in the first half. I thought the outball for Ben Gannon-Dope was always on. But I tell you what, their NAF gave up some chances, and that is a massive, massive problem. The reason they gave up chances is because they couldn't get the ball to stick with Adams and Shanklin up top. I don't know what was going on there.
No, I agree. And obviously the whole build-up has been about this game, as you say, the 2 up top. He's not going to do that, Steve Clarke, surely, against Brazil and Morocco. But I didn't think either of those players you mentioned covered themselves in glory. McTominay and McGinn, we said at the start of the tournament, they'd be the 2 key men. They certainly were in that midfield area. But they had so many opportunities, Haiti, and they just never seemed to have the quality to make the most of them. But again, I thought it was a really disappointing Scottish performance. When you want them to go out and make a statement against the second lowest ranked side in the competition, maybe that's a little bit unfair on Haiti. They certainly aren't the worst team we've seen so far. South Africa, for me, take that particular tag. But to get out of that group, they had to score more goals, Scotland. Honestly, it's not going to happen for them. Sorry, Scotland fans.
Come on, we'll get a little bit more positive. Let's check in with some Scotland fans because I was in a bar watching it with some Scotland fans a little bit earlier on, and on the full-time whistle, this was their reaction. That's the sound of Scotland winning for the first time in a generation. Girls, you've been watching Scotland all day today. What did you make of it?
It was brilliant.
What was the best thing about it?
Well, them winning.
Yeah, obviously. What about the goal?
Hey, second chance, it worked well.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you've been watching it as well. What was your overall feeling? Because it was really nervy towards the end there.
I'm delighted. Scotland's top of the league, top of their group, so it's amazing.
Well, that is quite amazing. amazing actually, because as we stand here right now, they're above Brazil and Morocco.
And we're going to the Boston game.
Are you?
Yeah.
Going to the Boston game?
Yeah, we're going next week it's my birthday on Juneteenth, and we're going to the game.
Oh, fantastic. And do you think that Scotland will qualify and get through into the knockout stage for the first time ever?
It would be a dream. It would be amazing.
Beatrice, you said absolutely. You're very confident.
Absolutely. I'm going to put it out there. They're going to win. We're going to do it.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a fantastic atmosphere in here. Have you had a good time?
Woo! Yeah.
You enjoyed yourselves? Who's your favourite player on the Scotland team?
Don't know.
You don't
They're
know?
all great.
They're all great. Okay.
They
all right.
won. 10 out of 10.
But today it's got to be John McGinn. These guys have had a fantastic time. It looks like Scotland are having a fantastic time in the United States of America as well. Just about getting over the line against Haiti today. Look, they were much more positive than you were, but let's be honest, they probably had about 2 bottles of champagne and about 5 or 6 pints. So I understand why they were a little bit more positive than you were. But here's what I won't sit on the fence. Scotland are going to have to be much more compact if they're to get anything else out of their next 2 games. Look, they need to flood the midfield. They need to try and nick a result. They have to defend a lot better. Brazil or Morocco, if they get the chances that Isidore and Franzi Pirro got, then they will be in massive, massive trouble.
Yeah, they will. But listen, I know I've been fairly downbeat on their chances at the start of this episode, but let's still realise it was a momentous occasion for Scotland. John McGinn, the first Scotland player since France
now he's being positive
at a World Cup. Obviously, they've got that victory. They don't come around too often for Scotland at major tournaments. So enjoy the night, Scotland fans. But obviously, the 2 toughest tests are still to come. And we're going to talk about Brazil against Morocco. That was a high-quality football match between 2 very good teams. I think it's hard to make an argument for either Scotland or Haiti getting anything from those 2.
The Inside Channel is brought to you in association with Star Sports. It's the UK's leading independent bookmaker. Starsports.bet is the place to find them. They've got sportsbook, casino and virtuals all in one place, and their best price on England throughout the summer. They're our brilliant sponsors. They've looked after us. Check them out. Remember, 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Group C, as already Crook has said, isn't just about Scotland. The 2 sides that will decide it played earlier this evening, our time. Morocco started sharp. They were the better team. Terrible defending for the opener, but well taken by Saibari. Gabriel, is he okay? Not sure. I thought Alisson looked really rusty. He looked like a goalkeeper that hadn't played for 2 months. I mean, the save that was going wide, which ended up having to be a double save because he kept it in play, was a real bad misjudgment. And coming out so quickly for Saibari to lift it over him, I thought was a bit rash.
Yeah, agreed. And actually, having said that they're 2 quality sides, Brazil and Morocco, I thought Brazil had problems all over the pitch. You mentioned that the goalkeeper, Gabriel, not brilliant. I thought both fullbacks looked a little bit suspect as well. Midfield, Casemiro showed, I think, why Manchester United weren't willing to renew his big money contract. He had a pretty poor afternoon. Igor Thiago didn't cover himself in any glory. I thought it looked a lot better, actually, Brazil, when Matheus Cunha came on. I would expect him to start the next game. And they're too reliant on Vinicius Junior, and I don't think he's going to be enough to carry them all the way to a World Cup and repeat what they did last time the competition was held on US soil. They backed up what I said when we were last together. I don't see this as a Brazilian team, even with a great Ancelotti in the dugout, that is going to go deep into the draw and certainly not going to threaten to win the competition. I think Morocco, based on that opening half an hour, will be disappointed to only come away with a point.
I mean, the Igor Thiago header. What was going on there? I mean, how did he miss that opportunity? It was such a great chance for him to score at a World Cup. And I tell you what, he'll be kicking himself that he didn't score that. You're right about Vinicius Junior. It was almost like the star turning up, the big boy in the playground turning up and getting everybody else out of trouble. A big character turning up at just the right time. Ancelotti actually apologised afterwards. He blamed the heat a little bit, but Morocco deserve a lot of credit as well, the way they applied themselves. Bouadi in midfield. He's still a teenager. He is absolutely terrific, by the way. I like him. I like the way he moves. I like the way one-touch passing keeps the tempo going. He always knows where the pass is going before he's received the ball. I think he's a terrific little player. I mean, he's big, tall, lean. He looks like an athlete. I think he's going to be terrific going forward.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be another team that we're going to have to watch like they were 4 years ago. You can't call them a dark horse anymore, as we've said, because they made the semi-finals in Qatar. But I think they're going to take out one of the big boys. I really do. I can see them going into the knockout rounds, and nobody is going to want to play this Moroccan side.
Well, if they finish first in the group, you know what that means. They could end up playing England in the heat of Miami in the quarterfinals. If they're going to take out a big boy, can we make sure it's not them? Massive night last night. And so far on the Inside Channel, we haven't talked too much about the host, the USA. And Matt Schreier from North Carolina is not happy with us.
Sam, Crook, what do we as American football fans need to do to get some coverage of the United States? 3 episodes in and not a sniff of coverage for America. We got coverage of Canada versus Bosnia, but nothing on USA versus Paraguay. Will a 4-1 thrashing of Paraguay be enough to get some coverage for the United States of America? And maybe even a match preview of US versus Australia coming up next Friday. Give us Americans what we want. Some love. America!
Look, you need a strong host. And Matt, what a performance from your boys. Closing down all over the park. I thought the midfield were absolutely brilliant. Pulisic played really well in the first half. Was taken off at half-time, probably to save him more than anything else because he wasn't 100% fit. Apparently, he said he's okay. Couple of super goals. The outside of the right foot from Gio Reyna at the end was a sight to behold. I like Balogun. I think he did really well. I love the unifying experience of that third goal as well. I mean, Paraguay were absolutely guffed, but America were all over them like a rash.
They were brilliant. And you've mentioned a few of the standout performers. I thought both fullbacks, Robinson and Dest, really took the game to Paraguay. They were brilliant as an attacking force and did their job defensively as well. And Mauricio Pochettino, who, speaking to the locals, as you would have done, Sam, he came into this tournament under an awful lot of pressure. I don't think they've ever really taken the Argentines to their hearts. You could see what it meant to him and how emotional he was in the celebrations of full time. And you're right, we need the host to start well, to whip up the atmosphere. Mexico did it in the Azteca. Canada were great as well in their game and deserved a share of the spoils. All I would say is we were watching it was a watch-along organised by Toka Social. There were a lot of American fans there at the start of the game. Most of them left at half time, which I found really odd considering how well they've played. So I think at the moment, the US public is still to fully invest in this tournament, based on what I've seen anyway.
Well, listen, I haven't experienced that. I mean, I was at Qatar versus Switzerland today, and it was absolutely full to brimming. 68,000 people in the Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, actually. It's about an hour away from the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And it was absolutely full to brimming. It was unbelievable. Couldn't believe how many people were there for that. We're here in this sort of bar in the middle of Sunnyvale, which is just down from the stadium. We were in San Pedro Market last night, which is where sort of Zoom have their headquarters and Adobe have their headquarters. And it was like a street party. And it was absolutely packed with people. And every single bar was showing the World Cup. And it was absolutely crammed with USA fans right to the very end. So I think you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Actually, do you know what? Everyone's attention was so much on the USA that they failed to spot walking down the street Granit Xhaka, Ricardo Rodriguez and Manuel Akanji just out for an evening stroll last night in San Pedro. It was absolutely brilliant. Fantastic. Loved it. Let's have a look at what else happened. Oh, I said Qatar, Switzerland happened today, didn't I? That's a bit of history, that.
Yeah, brilliant moment for Qatar at the end of the game. I mean, how Switzerland didn't put them to bed before that. I think they'll be, you talk about people kicking themselves. Certainly the Swiss players and management team will be doing that. But yeah, brilliant moment for Qatar, particularly after how poor they were on home soil 4 years ago. And it sets that group up quite interestingly, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Listen, I think I said when they scored the equaliser, the lack of ruthlessness has come back to bite them in the backside. It certainly did. It's the first ever World Cup point for Qatar. The tech failed with the penalty, which was awarded, apparently. So they couldn't quite see whether it was onside or offside. It looked pretty tight to me. So I don't know. It would have been good for them to communicate that to everyone and say we've had a bit of a tech failure rather than just not telling anybody anything for 2 hours and everybody then sort of open leaving it open to accusation. It was a bit silly, I thought. By the way, if there's a massive roar in the next few minutes, it's because the New York Knicks are just about to win the basketball. They're 93-90 up in the last few seconds, and I'm sure this place is going to explode when the Knicks end up winning it. Maybe that's a moment for us to get onto the big guest. Yes, the big guest today. We always have a big guest, a manager who was once interviewed for the England job, a man who brought John McGinn and Andy Robertson to England. They're now playing at a World Cup. He didn't do a bad job finding those two, did he? Ladies and gentlemen, our big guest on the Inside Channel is Steve Bruce. He has over 1,000 games as a manager. He's looked after 5 Premier League clubs. He was most famously interviewed for the England job back in 2016. And of course, he was the first player this century, in the 20th century, to captain a side to the double. He is the wonderful Steve Bruce. Hi, Steve.
Good morning. Good morning, wherever you are. Afternoon.
We are all over the shop.
We're stationed everywhere. So listen, it's lovely to see you. But then again, it's good that we're stationed everywhere because this is the start of the World Cup. So we might as well be all over the globe. Are you looking forward to it?
I certainly am. I think it's going to be a long tournament. There's that many teams in it with the new format. It's going to be very, very interesting. I don't think it'll get really interesting until the knockout stages, of course. And, what have you got to finish? 3rd in the group to qualify. So there's going to be a lot of teams in it. But, yeah, some fascinating games as well.
And when you look...
Go on. Sorry.
Go on. Sorry. There you go.
England going into the World Cup as 3rd favourites. How do you view their chances? They're a bit behind Spain and France. As someone who was in the frame for that job back in the day, do you think they're genuine contenders?
Oh, we must be genuine contenders, what we've got at the top end of the pitch. And I think we've all said it and all alluded to it. Keeping Harry Kane fit is a huge part of it. But we have got some very, very good players at the top end of the pitch and midfield areas. I worry about us slightly defensively. I have to say that. But look, we've got an outstanding chance. But when you look at the strength of the Spanish and the French in particular, and then you're never going to write off Brazil. I'm not too sure about Argentina this time up, but yeah, you've got to give England a chance, that's for sure. If they get the bounce of the ball, of course, and if they stay well, the big players stay well.
You mentioned you've got concerns defensively. When you look at the makeup of the centre-backs in particular, I think we're all expecting that it'll be John Stones and Mark Gay to start that first game. Gay didn't end the season in sparkling form for Manchester City. No Harry Maguire. You were on air, I think, when that news came out. Are you still perplexed by that there's no place for Maguire, given the way that he ended the season, given that he's got tournament form for England? I just thought of experience in that position is key. Look, John Stones is a fabulous football player, but unfortunately, he's been beset by injuries for, well, certainly this season and probably throughout his career, really. You hope he stays well because he is a very, very talented footballer. My worry is if he breaks down, and then what have we got? And then we've got to look at the fullback areas too. We've got an outstanding goalkeeper, that's for sure. That's just my concern in the middle of the defence is are we strong enough if something happens to either one of those two?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously being an international manager is different to being a club manager, but building a squad is really important in both and keeping squad harmony is really important in both. He's left out Thomas Tuchel, the likes of Foden, Palmer. We've just mentioned Maguire. Do you think that that's as much about managing the dressing room, the egos and the sort of atmosphere as it is about the squad?
Yeah, I think the hardest part of managing now is managing the players, the actual players themselves. Because look, we've all got squads of 22, 23, 25, 26, and you can only pick 11. You can only pick 11, and it's how you keep them other 14, 15 on tour with you, on board with it, and a certain mentality. And that's the beauty and the art of managing these days, of keeping a compact squad. They've already been together probably 10 days. Hopefully, if things go well, they're going to be in each other's faces for the next 6 weeks. There's no escape from it. So it's a huge part of it that you have a bit of unity That's why the likes of Jordan Henderson, for me, has got in the squad, and Dan Burn in particular, because of the type of personalities that they are. I think they've both accepted that they're not going to start, but they're going to be a good sounding bite for everybody else with that experience that them two, certainly, Dan is not got that experience in terms of international caps, but certainly he's a very, very good character to have around the dressing room, that's for sure.
You know what it takes from your management career to win a cup competition. Obviously, you did it at Birmingham in the League Cup. You got Hull to an FA Cup final. What is the secret to cup football, to knockout football? Because we all expect England to cruise through the group phase.
Yeah, we should cruise through the group, and then it's all about knockout football. And look, it's you need that little bit of luck to go your way. And of course, what you have to do is perform. You have to perform right at the top of your game to make sure that you get through. And that's for me when the World Cup comes to its, with the real crunch games, and it comes to knockout football, is the most exciting part of it. I have to say, when I look at England's draw to go and win it, we've got to beat some of the big boys very, very early, haven't we, if we get through? So it's going to be fascinating, that's for sure.
Talking of people in top form and being at the top of their game, Harry Kane is certainly at the top of his game. 36 goals in 31 Bundesliga matches in the season itself. England and Bayern Munich goals added together, 67 over the course of the season. Absolutely startling figures for him. Is he the difference between a good England campaign and actually winning it?
Yes, 100%. And, you're saying one player doesn't make a team, but, the great Maradona single-handedly won it, didn't he? I mean, Messi's won it, as for Argentina. It's so important that you're actual top player. And let's be fair, we have in Harry Kane the best number 9 in the world. You wouldn't swap him for anybody. He's in top form. Let's hope he stays well. If he stays well, England have got an outstanding chance.
How would you compare him to the number 9s that you came up against, the Ian Rushes and the Alan Shearers of this world? How would you compare him to Shearer in particular?
Well, Shearer before he got injuries, wanted to run away from you, and then he picked up 2 big knee injury and a bad ankle he had, and then all of a sudden he changed his game to be more of a link-up player. The thing about Harry is he wants to drift away from you as a centre-back, and that is the most difficult thing, certainly when I was playing back in the day. If I got a centre-forward who was wandering into midfield, do you go? Do you look after him? Do you stay? It's always that difficult. And Harry links the play well. He's such a really, really talented footballer. One thing, he's not going to run behind you because, he's not got blessed with unbelievable pace. So he's going to cause you all sorts of problems with his link-up play. And I have to say, he's immaculate. He's immaculate in his distribution. When he gets turned around, he finds a pass. And of course, when you give him an inch in the box, he goes ice cold, like all the great strikers do. He goes cold and seems to score. He scores. He scores every week, it seems. It's quite remarkable what he's achieved over the last few years in particular.
You talk about big players and their influence on their team. Captain at the time that the class of 92 came through at Manchester United. All of them, I think, played for England at some point. Even Giggsy played for England schoolboys. We're talking Beckham, Butts, Scholes, Neville. I hear that they are all very, very thankful and respectful towards you. They see you as almost like a father figure or a big brother figure. What is that relationship like? And how did it come about?
Yeah, well, I was when these lads were coming into the team, and by the way, it's the biggest. You talk about managers, and that stroke of genius to introduce them all into the United team was quite remarkable. All at once, all coming from the youth team, unbelievable piece of managing. But I was getting towards the end of my career, and these 18 and 19-year-olds were jumping around the dressing room, as you can imagine, And I was 35, so it was a sort of dressing room where I think they looked up to people like myself and Brian Robson and people like that, And it was unbelievable to watch that 6, 7, 8 years down the line. They took control of the dressing room. They were the main leaders of it, because back in that great team in '94, it didn't take much managing. He was a wonderful manager, don't get me wrong, but there's certain personalities in that squad where, it was quite remarkable that discussions and fights and scuffles that we used to have between each other was quite remarkable. It happened on a daily basis. Even in training, it was competitive always, and on edge always, and that stands everybody in good stead.
And obviously a big part of that at the time was the man in the picture behind me, Eric Cantona, but never really got the recognition at international level because he had a habit of falling out with a French FA. Were you party to any of them fallouts?
Well, when he jumped in the crowd and decided to knock somebody out at Selhurst Park, then we were part of it. But yeah, and he had a little altercation in Galatasaray. I remember how we got out of Turkey that night is beyond me, but that was all driven by Eric, of course. But you know what we're talking about with Harry Kane? If Eric hadn't got suspended, believe me, we would have won the double in 95. We won it in 94. We would have won it in 95 if he had been available. And we won it again in 96, which is quite remarkable in itself. And Eric, was key to that. He was that little bit of magic at the top end of the pitch that really, really put the team together. He was a fantastic player, and I can't speak highly enough of him because yes, he's a bit different, and yes, Bergie managed him a little bit different, but by God, in the big games, cup finals, semi-finals, big games that you needed to win, he scored or had a big part in the goals, that's for sure.
Talks Eric Cantona there, and the fact they probably didn't get the international recognition he deserved. You didn't get the international recognition you deserved either, did you? Really? I mean, if you think of someone who achieved what you achieved in the game, are you a little bit disappointed you never got that?
Do you know when the internationals were called up, there was only me left in the dressing room. So I used to be fair, I used to go and have some nice holidays. I'd take the good lady away, and we'd often visit a supporters branch either in Malta or Cyprus or do something like that. So I think everybody else felt a little bit sorry for me, really. I mean, the whole dressing room was gone. Oh, have a good time. Who's got this week? Oh, we've only got Brazil. Or, oh, have a wonderful time. And I was sort of left alone. And I was probably closer to playing for Ireland, as I probably told you, Sam, in 94, USA 94. Big Jack got wind that my mother was Irish and come charging down the phone at me saying, will you come to the USA? And I said, yeah, I would. Of course I would. But Sir Alex decided against it because I would have been classed as a foreign player then. So it was quickly nipped in the bud. But that was probably the biggest opportunity I was going to be representing anyway. It was going to be Ireland and USA 94. And because of it, I went to watch them play in New York when they won 1-0 and then followed them down to Florida where they drew Mexico in the heat. And unfortunately, they got beat there. But yeah, went on to follow them just by being a supporter, really.
Let's talk about Scotland. Obviously, this podcast is coming out after their first game against Haiti, but two key players for Scotland in this tournament, two players that you know very well, Andy Robertson, who you managed at Hull, John McGinn at Aston Villa. Are you surprised by the careers that those two have gone on to have, or did you see this coming?
I'm not surprised that they went on to have great careers, I have to tell you, because they were highly motivated from being young. I mean, sometimes you need a little bit of luck in management. And I was here in Portugal like I am today, and I bumped into Neil Lennon, and he kept telling me for a week, he kept telling me that the best young player in Scotland is McGinn, who he had at Hibs. The problem that I went straight onto it, and I remember ringing Archie Knox, Sir Alex Ferguson's assistant, and got a little bit of a rundown on him. The biggest problem that we had was that he was 2 million quid in Aston Villa. We didn't have it. We didn't have that money. It was quite remarkable, that we couldn't get it together. But we somehow managed to rustle up the 2 million quid, got his mum and dad down. And I heard that his dad was a really keen golfer. So we got him a game on the Belfry with the pro at the Belfry and took him around the Belfry. And that's how it happened with John. But, in his first ever game was in the Championship, and within 5 minutes he became a cult hero. He crashed into a tackle, he sprayed a 50-60 yard pass, he smashed a shot just wide of the post, all within the first 5 minutes. So it was not a surprise that he was going to go on to go and be the player that he certainly is, because he wanted it so badly. And that goes with Andy too. Andy, I have to say, Stan Tennant, who was my chief scout at the time, who managed the famous Burnley and Bury, and he'd gone up to see a centre forward, and he come back and he was raving about this young left back, and he called him Billy Whiz, and says, I'm just going to go back next week and have a look. And anyway, he comes back and says, we've got to take him. So we did all the due diligence that you do and took him. And with Andy, we were in the Premier League at the time when we bought him, and it was one of them where he's only a young lad, and we thought, well, we'll just bide his time and give him a little bit of a breather and just ease his way in. Unfortunately, we were injured to a couple of the left backs that were in the squad, and all of a sudden I threw him in against QPR away, and he never came out. He never came out the team, really. So that was testament to him. And of course, to watch him go on, play for Liverpool and win Premier Leagues is fantastic to watch, the pair of them. And I really hope that Scotland do well, especially with them two. The nice part of management is signing a young'un and then watching them develop and grow and turn into the player that you hope they would do. And certainly them two are smashing individuals.
Well, you've had a few of those over the course of a fantastic career. Thank you very much for joining us on the Inside Channel. Massively appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your time in Portugal and enjoy the World Cup, mate.
I will do. Thanks ever so much.
You can't help but love Steve Bruce because he's got this voice, this sunny sort of disposition. You can hear the miles in every single sentence that he comes out with. And I was with someone the other day who says to me, Steve Bruce is the kind of person that tells you he's going to rob you and you're still smiling because he's got such a sunny disposition.
He was one of my favourite players as a kid. That iconic game against Sheffield Wednesday when he scored twice in stoppage time, for me, rewrote the history, not just of Manchester United, but of the Premier League. Who knows what would happen had he not have popped up. So every time we speak to him, I am a little bit in awe. I go back to the childhood Crookie and tell myself, yeah, this guy is special.
That's weird because you're not really childish in any way, shape or form, are you?
I've done a few childish things this trip. Don't worry about that. There'll be a few more to come.
I saw you kicking a football at some sort of I think it might have been the Toga Social thing. And all of you couldn't stop sharing these videos of you smashing it in and celebrating because you'd won. Whereas all the rest of our mates were sending us videos of you falling over and running into a wall and mishitting your shots. That was it for me. I quite enjoyed that. I like to see the two sides of the coin. You don't often show all of that, do you?
No, absolutely. I'll send you my best bits, and no doubt someone's there to film the worst. You know what we did after that, though, and how un-British is this? And health and safety in our country would have been not happy at all. At midnight, after a fair few whiskey and ginger ales, we went go-karting, and I came second. Right, I'm not built for a go-kart. And the reason I came second is because after all those whiskey and ginger ales, I just decided not to brake. I just had my foot to the floor for the whole 8 or 9 minutes and, surprised myself.
Isn't that drink driving? I'm not sure that's allowed. There's no way in this country you would be allowed to do that, surely. No, in this country, you probably can. Well, you can. In England, I'm sure you can't. Anyway, probably we should move on from that. That was Steve Bruce. Fantastic interview with him. Let's move on from England and Scotland and chat around the two home nations, because the rest of the world has been playing in this World Cup as well. Right, let's get into some big games that are happening this week. Let's start with Netherlands against Japan. Best game on paper of the lot of what's remaining in this opening round for me. So we'll lead with that. Japan went unbeaten against European opposition at the last World Cup, beating Germany and Spain in the group stage and drawing with Croatia in the round of 16 before going out on penalties. Can they beat the Dutch?
Well, I know that you think they can, and we'll come on to our best bets for these next couple of days very shortly. I think they've got a chance of getting something from the game. I'm not sure they'll win, but I don't think they'll lose either. So therefore, I'm obviously saying I think it might end in stalemate. But I agree with you. I think this is going to be really intriguing. Probably the best game of the group stage we've already seen in terms of the matchup between Brazil and Morocco. But I think this can can run it close. Really impressed with Japan in that friendly against England at Wembley. Deserved their victory. We all remember what they did 4 years ago in Qatar, beating both Spain and Germany. They've got a couple of key absentees, which is a shame, but I think they're more than capable against this Dutch side. They move the ball so well. This game obviously is going to be played in Dallas. I can tell you how humid it's been in Dallas, that it is an air-conditioned stadium, so that'll be a bit of a leveller. But I think the energy of Japan is going to cause the Dutch some problems.
Yeah, the Netherlands are unbeaten in the last 16 group matches at the World Cup, the longest current unbeaten run in the competition. Their last loss came in 1994 against Belgium in Orlando, Florida, when it was very, very humid. The current Curaçao head coach, Dick Advocaat, was the Netherlands manager on that day. Talking of Curaçao, they take on Germany. They've reached the FIFA World Cup finals for the first time. They're the smallest nation by both area and population to qualify for the tournament. And Crook, I hear you're very excited about going to watch this game.
I am. I've been wandering around Houston in my Germany shirt that I picked up at the Euros a couple of years ago. And it's a great story, isn't it, for Curaçao, making their debut at the World Cup. I don't think they're going to get the fairy tale. I think Germany will beat them. But it's interesting, speaking to Germany fans, I have been in various bars around Houston tonight. They're not that confident. You know, I think they're banking on the fact that Germany...
Curaçao game?
No, they're confident about the Curaçao game, but not about Germany going deep into the draw. And I think actually when you talk to them, all they keep coming back to is Germany usually turn up at major tournaments. And then I remind them they didn't really 4 years ago, did they?
Nick Voltemada was involved in more goals than any other German player during qualifying. He scored 4 times, but only had 4 shots on target, and he came up with 1 assist. Does he lead the line or does Havertz?
I think Havertz will lead the line. And actually, if you look at them going forward, you've got Havertz up front. Leroy Sané's inclusion, I think, has divided opinion. Again, talking to the Germany supporters, they don't think he's had a brilliant season domestically. But you've got Musiala in there, you've got Florian Wirtz. There is quality at the top end of the pitch. Maybe it's at the other end where they're a little bit concerned. Defensively, I think they feel their team are vulnerable.
Okay, Spain, they're the reigning European champions. But you're not going to believe this. I found this statistic today, actually. They have won only 1 of their last 6 matches at the World Cup, which was a 7-0 victory over Costa Rica in the group stage in 2022. They've reached the semi-finals only once in 14 different World Cups. This is the year that all changes, I'm sure, and they're going to get off to a winning start against Cape Verde on Monday. It's the game I'm doing in Atlanta. We're flying there really early in the morning.
They're going to get off to a winning start, but again, I'll go back to the big preview that you and I did with Scott Minto. I think there are issues with this Spanish team, mainly concerning the fitness of key players. So, yes, obviously they're going to win the game, they're going to get out of the group, but again, I don't see them at this stage as potential world champions.
Belgium, they qualify for the World Cup as Group J winners. They got there ahead of Wales. They remain unbeaten in qualifying. Only Norway scored more goals than Belgium in qualifying. I can't see Egypt keeping them quiet, also bearing in mind that Egypt have never won a World Cup game.
No, but again, it's another special moment, isn't it, in the career of Mo Salah, one of those sort of ageing superstars, of which there are many at this World Cup. Defensively, Egypt were pretty good in qualifying, so I don't think Belgium will have it all their own way in that regard, but you would expect them to win the game. Again, I'm not overly confident this Belgium team are going to be here for too long, to be honest.
Let's see what happens. Mr. Negative will, I'm sure, be a lot more positive when we get to Dallas on Wednesday and we do the big preview to the England game. Or is that Tuesday? I can't remember. I don't know what time zone I'm in. To be honest with you, I've been so far all over this country now. I honestly, I don't know. What time is it? Is it Pacific Standard Time? Is that what we're doing, Patrick? Is that what we're doing? Pacific Standard Time, apparently.
Don't ask me.
Which means we're 8 hours back from London or something like that. I don't know. I'm not asking you because you've been in Dallas all the time. You should be acclimatized now, but you've just been drinking so much. You don't know what day it is. Anyway,
I still don't know what time it is.
Let's move on to our tipping competition that we're doing with Star Sports. The big prize at the end is to avoid standing in Times Square half naked with your picture illuminated behind you and saying something like, "I'm the biggest loser." So it's quite tantalising to try and win this competition. Where we stand right now, well, both of our bets failed this weekend. I had Switzerland to win and Manzambi to have a shot on target. I came closest, by the way, because Switzerland probably should have won. And Manzambi, who didn't start the game, had 2 shots, both off target, when he came on as a substitute. But Scotland to win and over 2.5 goals was your bet, and you missed by a mile. So you should be penalised, in my opinion.
Yeah, not a great start for us in the tipping competition. The only way is up. And actually, do you know what? I missed the obvious one because one of the bets I did have was on Switzerland's first goal scorer. And if I put that up in the tipping competition, I'd have taken an early lead.
Yeah, but you didn't. I'm in front just by a nose, as we said the other day. My nap for the next round of fixtures, big price this, Japan to beat the Dutch. I'm a bit nervous about it, I must admit, because Japan have been in fantastic form. They haven't lost for a very long time. They're a very good team. I think they can do it. I think they can do it. I'm going with it anyway, because if they do win, it's just a little bit over 2.5 to 1. So it'll be a good start to the competition for me. What are you going for?
Yeah, some serious points for you if that does come in. I'm focusing on Ivory Coast against Ecuador. Excited to see Ecuador make their entrance to this tournament because I think they might be one of those teams who've gone a bit under the radar. So I've gone Ecuador to win, and they're very decent defensively. So Ecuador to win and under 1.5 goals for the Ivorians.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see what happens. Remember, with Star Sports, they will be best price on England throughout the tournament. Every single match at Star Sports. Starsports.bet is the place to go. So if you're backing the boys this tournament, then check them out. We'll do a big preview to the England game against Croatia on Tuesday, and we're going to be joined by Slaven Bilic. Yes, the Slaven Bilic, who's going to give us the lowdown on his career playing for Croatia. What makes Croatia so special? They've been one of the most successful nations over the last 20 years in international competitions. Why is that? He's going to explain it. He's also going to tell us about this current team and what to expect from them when England play them in Dallas on Wednesday, and that game will be live on ITV. I'll be doing that one, so I'm looking forward to that. That's the episode from us. At whatever time it is in the morning in the UK, around about 4 or 5 in the morning, no less. If you're up with us, then subscribe, follow, leave us a review. It's just 2 mates on the road giving you proper access to the World Cup, and the more of you that are here, the better this gets. What you got next, Crook?
Germany, Curacao tomorrow. Looking forward to it. And then making my way back to Dallas to join you at what I'm told is a very special stadium for England against Croatia in midweek.
Can't wait for that. We'll see you on Tuesday. I suppose it'll be Tuesday night, Wednesday morning by the time you get the episode to preview the huge game between England and Croatia. We'll be in a different city, but, you know, same old stuff from us. From Alex Crook in Houston and from me in San Francisco, good night. And don't overreact to one game. It's just the opener. See you Monday.